For this video, we're going to be discussing solving systems of equations by elimination. This is our third method we've discussed of solving systems of equations. And this is a method that I think you're going to find works very well with every single sort of problem and is a very useful one to know. So elimination is just a solution method that works by removing one of the variables from the system. This is done by adding or subtracting two equations. So if we think about this, if I told you like 2x plus 3y equals 15, and negative 2x plus 7y equals 35. Well, take a look. Positive 2x, negative 2x. If I want to eliminate x, which means get rid of x altogether, all I have to do is add these two equations. If I add them, 2x plus negative 2x, those cancel out. That's 0. 3y plus 7y, that's 10y. And 15 plus 35, that's 50. Which means y equals 5. Alright? Then if I want to figure out what x was, well, I can just say, hey, y is 5, so 2x plus 3 times 5 equals 15. Well, that's 2x plus 15 equals 15. That says 2x equals 0, x equals 0. Well, we could test that by plugging that back into our other one. Negative 2 times 0 plus 7 times 5 equals 35. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. 7 times 5 is 35. And 0 plus 35 is 35. So it works for both, so my answer is 0, 5. So all elimination is adding or subtracting two equations to cancel one of the variables out, solving for the other one, and then plugging that back into one of the equations to figure out the other variable. So here's our procedure. Step 1 is decide which variable to eliminate. So we're going to look for the same coefficients. We want to see like 2x and negative 2x, or 4y and 4y. We want to eliminate the variables that have the exact same coefficient. Then we want to add or subtract, and we figure it out by looking at the signs. If they have the same sign, then we're going to subtract. So if I look here, if I said 4y minus 4y, that gives me 0. If they have different signs, like here, negative 2x and positive 2x, well, that means I want to add. All right? So if they have the same sign, subtract, different signs, add. Then I want to do that adding or subtracting to get rid of one variable, solve the equation that's left for the remaining variable, then take that variable we know, plug it back into one of our original equations to figure out the other one, and then just check our work. So let's try with an example here. Example 1 says, solve the system by elimination. We're told that x plus y equals 9 and 2x minus y equals 6. Well, if we look here, our first step is to decide which variable do I want to eliminate? Which one do I want to get rid of? Well, positive 1y and negative 1y, I know if I add these two equations together, positive y minus y will get me 0, they'll cancel out. So I want to get rid of y. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of y. Now like I said, they have different signs, which means I have a positive and a negative. What I want to do is I want to add them together. Because I know if I add these two equations, positive y and negative y will cancel each other out. 1y minus 1y equals 0. They cancel. Then, x plus 2x, that gives me 3x, and 9 plus 6, that gives me 15. So now I'm going to solve for x to figure out what my x is. Divide both sides by 3. 3x equals 15. Divide both sides by 3. I figure out x is equal to 5. So that's what I do. I decide, all right, I want to get rid of y. They're different signs, so I'm going to add them. I add them, and then I solve for the variable that's left. Well, now I need to figure out what y is. So I know x plus y equals 9. So I'm going to take this 5 that I know x is now. I'm going to plug it in. So I know 5 plus y equals 9, which means y equals 4. So now I know x is 5, y is 4. To make sure I did it right, I'm going to check by plugging those both into my second equation. So I know 2x minus y equals 6. So that's 2 times 5 minus 4 equals 6. That's 10 minus 4. 6 equals 6. So I know that it works for both equations. So my answer is the ordered pair 5, 4. So I decide which variable I'm going to get rid of. I add or subtract to get rid of it. Solve for the remaining variable. Plug that back into one of my equations. Solve for the missing one. Plug them both into the other equation to check. All right, let's try example 2. Example 2, I'd like you to pause the video and try this one on your own, and then we will go over it. So that you've tried it, let's go through this one. I've got x plus 3y equals 16 and x minus 4y equals 2. I notice that my x's have the same coefficient, so that's what I'm going to be trying to get rid of. I'm going to eliminate x. They have the same sign. Same sign means that I'm going to subtract this whole thing. All right. So if I subtract x minus x is 0, that cancels. 3 minus negative 4y is 7y, and 6 minus 2 is 14. All right, realize it's 3 minus negative 4y. Same thing as 3 plus 4y equals 7. All right, so 7y equals 14. Divide both sides by 7, and I get y equals 2. All right, so now my next step is going to be take one of my equations. I'm just going to work with the top one. I'm going to plug in my y value that I know. So x plus 3y equals 16. So x plus 3 times 2 equals 16. 3 times 2 is 6. So x plus 6 equals 16, which tells me x is 10. So I have, right now, x is 10, y is 2. I want to check my work by plugging it into my second equation. Maybe. Check my work by plugging it into our second equation. So I say x minus 4y equals 2. Plug in, x is 10, y is 2. That's 10 minus 4 times 2, which is 10 minus 8, which is 2. So 2 equals 2. So these two values work for both equations. So I know my answer is simply the ordered pair 10, 2. All right, so your try-it problem for tonight is to solve this system of equations by elimination.